I'm Kirsten Haas, Director of Membership Services for the Greater Reading Chamber Alliance, and I'm joined today by Dave Coyne, who's one of the principals of Liberty Environmental, one of our neighbors down on Penn Street. Welcome.
Thank you very much. Happy to be here.
So I was doing a little research today before our interview, and I saw that the tagline on Liberty Environmental's website is providing innovative solutions to complex environmental problems. What does that mean?
It's a lot, I know. Well, it adequately describes what we do at Liberty, and what I mean by that is we consider ourselves a full-service environmental consulting firm.
Okay.
For a firm of our size, which we consider ourselves sort of a mid-size professional services firm, we actually have a very large platform of what we do for our clients.
Okay.
And in a nutshell, we basically we address whatever environmental challenges they might have, be it permitting, or a site cleanup issue, or a development-related issue. And we try to help them sort out through what is now a maze of environmental regulations and policies, and our own many, many years of expertise to try to find out what the best solution to that particular problem might be. If it's an area of compliance, or they were dealing with a particular cleanup, or they're just looking for the right way to go about a project, trying to develop a site or trying to expand, let's say, a manufacturing line. There's an environmental element in a lot of what industry does these days. And so we help them find that roadmap and do it in the most effective and cost-efficient way.
What are some examples locally in Berks County of some of the issues that companies, I realize you may not be able to tell us exactly what company, but some examples that you've seen businesses have to contend with that you've helped them with?
Oh, sure. Yeah, and especially in Berks County, and we are a Reading-based firm, in that we started here in the city of Reading, and so we've grown with the community and we've provided services to all sectors of the community. So we can provide environmental consulting services to lenders if a bank or an attorney is looking to provide an assessment or an evaluation of the environmental condition of a site and help them evaluate what those costs might be in trying to make that buy-sell decision. We work with local manufacturers or manufacturers that are based here that also are national in scope in helping determine what kind of permits they need for their plants and for their facilities and keep them up to speed with changing regulations. And you know, in a place such as Reading or a lot of towns in Pennsylvania and in the Northeast, there's a lot of old industrial properties.
Right.
And older industrial properties come with environmental challenges associated with the kind of materials, chemicals, wastes that may have been generated there over the course of decades. And so we help developers and redevelopers evaluate what is there. And so, you know, there have been many different, very landmark redevelopment efforts in and around Reading and in eastern Pennsylvania in general that we've been a part of. And what that does is that helps the development go forward with the known environmental condition as opposed to an unknown environmental condition. And we'll help to try to define what those might be, and then people are able to then take those properties back to marketable use.
What can happen if a company moves forward with a development project and does not use a service such as Liberty Environmental? What are some of the consequences a business might encounter?
Sure, yeah, you know, I mean, any business, one of the scariest things about any business is the unknown, right? And costs that are associated with things you don't know. And so we provide our services to be a source of information. So if someone were to move forward on a project where there might be an environmental challenge, and when I say that, I mean perhaps a contaminant is present on the site. Perhaps there's a requirement to attain a certain environmental permit that they're not aware of. Then if they go forward with those plans, they risk a point at which they're faced to jump over that hurdle in the middle of ramping up for a process, or after a transaction has occurred where they might actually have liability for doing that. So what we try to do is eliminate these kind of roadblocks to development and economic growth in the early stages of a project by telling them what the environmental challenges could be as early in the process as possible.
So for especially like here in the city of Reading, you mentioned a lot of the old buildings and stuff. If a business wanted to, say, go from renting to owning a building, what are some of the steps they need to take in working with Liberty Environmental to like determine if that building's a good site, let's say for a restaurant?
A great example, and this is the kind of thing we do almost every day. And so what we're doing is we're taking a look at a property that someone might say, hey, I would like to actually own this. So when you go from a renting to owning, certainly in Pennsylvania, there's a lot of things that go with that. You're buying a property, so you're buying whatever condition that property is, whatever might be in the ground below that building. So what we can do then is we will come in very early in the process, a lot of times right after an agreement of sale is signed, before a transaction has occurred. And we will go in and we'll study that property. We'll study what its current use is, of course. We'll study what its history of operations has been. And we'll take our expertise to that project and help them understand what could be some of the contaminants that might be there, that might need to be looked at more carefully. We also will evaluate what activities will take place in that facility in the future and determine what kind of environmental compliance might be needed too. So we'll help them plan if the construction or the reconstruction of a property is going to involve permitting for stormwater or for erosion control or discharges, things like that. If the new facility is going to require air permits or some kind of ongoing industrial permit that is involved, that involve environmental permitting or regulations, we help identify them at that early stage. So that's an example of what we do early on.
Right, but it sounds like anytime if you're a business person and you're looking to move into a building or build a building, it sounds like if you do your homework up front with a company like Liberty, it sounds like a lot up front, but at the end of the day, it sounds like it's actually going to end up saving you probably a lot of time and money that you don't have to spend after the fact on things that you didn't anticipate.
Absolutely. And that's what I tell people all the time, in that, environmental wasn't always a part of that picture decades ago. It is very much a part of that picture now. Due diligence has always been something that businesses have needed to do. Decades ago, it was marketing, finances, infrastructure. Is the building sturdy? Is the building sound? Does it have the right facilities and electrical? Environmental is just one more part of that that needs to be considered, and it's just as important as the rest nowadays.
So we're all at a school and we still all have to do our homework.
Yes, exactly.
Well, thank you so much for taking time to spend with us today and tell us a little bit about what Liberty Environmental does.
Thank you. I really appreciate the opportunity.
Excellent.